Okay, I hope I'm a little more awake now. I had a cup of coffee, and we're making a valuation. And please, if it's a relatively small company, don't be deceived about the quality of the valuation, I hope. Now, the first thing about this company is that they had a return on invested capital that really fluctuates a lot. And the reason it fluctuates so much is they're a poultry company, chickens, and the markets get flooded. And I'm in Ramallah, and this is a Palestinian company, and the markets get flooded by Israel. That's a shock. And then so we need to understand whether this is a cyclical behavior, and the RIC will be flat. Now, the main reason for this video is to show you we're going to make a low case and a high case, and I'm not going to do too much of this, don't worry. And this will just be Gordon's growth. I'm just going to call it growth. I can't call it after that guy who tried to get my electricity rates higher. And then we put the EV to EBITDA ratio, and then we put the value driver. And we have a low case and a high case for both of these. We're going to take the low case and the high case for both of these and make a football field diagram that I hope I have here that looks like one of these things. And when we make a football field diagram, we're going to make it really flexible, so we can put different kind of things in, and we can put the labels in, and it's not as easy as you might think. Well, I don't know if you tried it. If you tried it, you know it's a pain. It's not as bad as a what do you call it? The waterfall diagram. Okay, but shit, I can't format it. It's still a pain. Okay, so I just want to review a couple of the DCF things. I think we did a pretty careful job, actually. We put a high case and a low case for cost of capital and all that. Now, what I would do here, and just in case, I mean, I've done this so much, it's ridiculous, but, I would put a little spinner button, so eventually we can increase and decrease our we can increase. This is the graph data that has a whole bunch of match and index stuff. We can increase and decrease it, so let's go from 0 to, I don't know, 100%. These costs of capital are absurdly high, I think, but I can't object. This is what they say they use. And then and the other problem is the growth rate is absurdly low compared to it, and then you get a really, really low implied EV to EBITDA ratios when you do that. So we'll put these in, and eventually these things, and if you press on one of them, whoops, Control A, no, right click on one of them, Control A, and then you can make them all a little smaller, okay? So that's one of the things we'll do. And I promise not to waste any more time on the video on that one, okay? And then we compute our normal free cash flow, EBITDA minus income, using OPAT. I got the average invested capital from the financial model. Okay, we computed a financial model all the way down to the balance sheet. Got a history and a projection, and we get the free cash flow. Then we get an explicit free cash flow and just take a high case and a low case. And this one, I'm going to have us do this I'm not doing this first. To get a mid-year convention, you multiply it by 1 plus the WACC raised to the 0.5 power. Then here's the normalization. You Google normalized cash flow, I have no idea what you get. But we put a whole section for normalized. What's a stable ROIC? What's the lifetime of the asset, so we can get a stable capex to depreciation? what's a stable working capital? The tax rate's not really that important, but and then we get a stable, take our ROIC, multiply it by the invested capital, get a stable NOPAT, add the depreciation, and ultimately get a stable from this, a stable EBITDA CapEx that's not the same CapEx we used in our other one. We stabilize it. In this case, it was pretty similar. Working capital is stable too, and cash flow from the others. I should have put the indemnity assets, the cash flow from indemnity too. Okay, that's just like what they do is accrue indemnity costs, and if you do that, you better add the change in the indemnity, and for all of these, we just multiply it by the terminal switch. Okay. And theoretically, that should all also be adjusted for a stable ratio, kind of like the working capital one. So did I add it? Okay. And then we do exactly the same for the high case. So I'm just kind of going through this, and we just use some different parameters, the different growth rates, different assumed return on invested capital, and so on and so forth. And then we go and we get our terminal value. Now, when you get your terminal value, you can just take the last year, this normalized free cash flow. If this is the low case, you take that normalized free cash flow and multiply it by the 1 plus G divided by K minus G. This one you use this free cash flow. And then this is important. Oh, no, it's not so important. You get the implied EV to EBITDA in the last year, and then you do it for the high case. And when you do it for the high case, I made a mistake here, what you do is you say, if it's the explicit period, then take the number, otherwise you just leave it false. That makes sure when you take the NPV, it takes the NPV back to this period, not all the way back to the first period. You get the right NPV. Now we're going to get the value of the bridge and put the equity value per share in, and then we'll get the value of the let's make the value driver method. The value driver method, what you would do is you start with your NOPAT, you multiply it by 1 plus the growth rate, and I'm using the high case growth rate now, and 1 minus G, the growth rate, divided by the ROIC, and you divide the whole thing by the WACC minus the G. Okay, and then you get your number. Okay, and then if we wanted to now take the PV of this, because we're going to do this, we should with this one do the same thing we did before, put an if statement and just click on the explicit period, and when you do that, you'll get the false, and when you get the false, then you can take the present value of it appropriately. Okay, and then you can get the NPV at the WACC of the first one. We get this one. Okay, shift control. I'll put, oh shit. Oh god. And then you can multiply this to get it a half year by 1 plus the WACC raised to the 0.5 power. Okay, and then we can do the same thing, NPV, and we take this and take the second one. Okay, I hope you don't hear my French in the background. 1 plus the whack. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay, now. I can't even type anything. Tough time. Okay. 1 plus the whack raised to the 0.5 power. Just kind of a review. And then we take the same, to get the enterprise value, we take the same, the explicit cash flows plus the other ones, get it over here, and then we press Shift Control 7, and we take out the bridge, and we get the equity value per share. Now that's going to be all in these different columns. Okay, now what I'm going to do is go to breakfast. I'm going to switch the video off while we fill these things in, and then we're going to make our football field diagram. Okay. Okay, it's a little bit louder here, but I filled a couple things in. Now, if we want the bridge between the equity value and the enterprise value, well, this, in this case, is very simple. We had a simple balance sheet. The cash comes out. That's a negative. I can't see anything else. Excuse me. I think this held for sale we should also take out too. So we put a negative here. If we had some minority interest, we'd put a positive here. This indemnity is not a bridge item. Okay, and then we, once you have all those little trues and falses, you just use a sum product and quickly make it mechanical. A minute. Oh, this bridge, here's why it became negative, because I started to build up all this cash. Okay. Sorry, this is the thing that just selects items to graph. You just put a true or false. Okay, then once we have that, we just put equal lookup. You know, lookup works wonderfully, and it's better than match index if you have a, I can't believe I'm saying it, can't I? It's better than that if you have something in order, like years. Okay. And then let's make the market value equal to book value for now. And let's do the same thing, lookup, go up to the year. Click on the entire series of years, and then click on the shares, and then we have the shares, so we can get our equity value per share as the enterprise value minus the market value of the bridge. Oops, I've already done that. Equity value is just this divided by this. Okay. And then we put a kind of the same things in here. Okay. Now, once we do that, let's transfer this over to the first page. And I have to get the number of shares. I'm sorry, I'm going between sheets a little bit here. Okay, and we the number of shares, whoops. And then we get our value per share in all of the different scenarios. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do after we do this is take these values and put them into a football field diagram. Okay. And I'm going to put that on a separate page. Okay. And we then in the football field diagram, maybe this. Oops. Oh shit. Just a minute. Okay. I'm gonna pause. Okay, let's make the football field diagram. The first thing I do is put an increment for the labels. You know, so if you remember, this we have to put the labels here. That's going to be the biggest pain in the whole thing, really, and make the labels move around. And what we do is we put we start with a table which just has all the different scenarios, and then we put a low range label, low range, high range label. Okay, so we'll set that up. I'll put low, and then we'll put label, and then we'll put high, and then we'll put label. Okay, so let's just fill this in now. I'm just obviously pressing Control D after I press that. So maybe we'll make. I'm gonna make it the maximum of. Let's make it 50. We might want to get fine labels. So let's start with something that's relevant, and let's put a factor in here. Let's say we put 2, and we take the labels, just divide them by 2. So that's kind of our area space we're reserving for the labels, and then press F4. Okay, now the good news about that is we can then adjust our graph. Whoops. We can adjust our graph to put a different factor in. If this is 0.5, we get more space for a label. If this is 3, we get less space. Let's leave it as 2 for now. Okay, step number 1 is once you have this, you can take this and press alternate F1 and make a graph. And then immediately change the chart type and make it a bar. And I think you make it one of these bars. Okay, now so that's step 1. Okay, I might even just leave that for you for a minute. Okay. Oh, shit. Why? I think this didn't work out. We need to switch the row and the column on this one. Okay, there we go. Okay. Then the next step is we take this graph. I'm just going to copy it so you can kind of see each step. So step 1 is to Jesus. Okay. You copy it, and you step 1 is bar chart. Step 2 is remove the labels. Now, I did this, but what we're going to do here is make an alternative. And we take this, and this we have to do for the labeling. If you see this, we want the lowercase. Let's see if we can see this. The lowercase here should be 2.15 for the growth. It has that. But this is going to be the space for the labels. This green bar is going to be what we're doing. We've got to push that back. So what you need to do is take these low cases and subtract the label from that. Okay. We'll see that in a minute. and then you leave the label in here. Okay. And then I'm going to cheat. I shouldn't really do this, but I can never remember. On the high case, you take, for the high case, you just take the high minus the low. Okay. Couldn't remember that. You take this one minus the low case. Okay. And then you leave space for the label. And don't worry about this. All this means is since it's kind of a stacked bar, that's why we're doing it. Okay. I'll put format for chart. So let's now delete this one and do it again. And this time I'm just going to put the lowercase here. I'm not going to put the other things. Okay. And then we select the area and press alternate F1 and change the chart type again, make it a bar, and make it one of these ones, and press OK. And we have the same problem. We need to go to select data and switch the rows and columns. Press OK. Now, here's, oh no, I hope this is going to be okay. Okay, the first step we do after we've done this, let me get rid of the chart title for a minute, and I don't know how to get rid of the bar there. We take this one and we take the fill out of it. So maybe I want to do this. I'll leave this and we'll copy it and we'll put the low fill. Okay. Click on this one and we go to format the data series, I hope. Okay. And then we do exactly the same thing for the top one. Okay. And I'm doing this out of memory, and I might be doing it wrong. I'm going to pause in just a second to make sure I didn't do anything wrong. Okay. Okay, a short note, I was wrong. I had to go and check, and we should have just taken the bottom fill out, leave these top fills in, and then you click on this one, and you go to add the data labels. And you click on this one, and you go to add the data labels. Okay, so far. Now if you want the data labels to be better format, you can do it like this. Now when you do this, the data labels are all wrong. So let's put step 3, repair data labels. Okay, and we copy this to the next one. And this is a real pain. You've got to go one by one and get the right one. Okay, so I get that one. And you put an equal sign, and you get excuse me, you don't get that one. See, I was wrong. You get it from this one. This one. you get from here. Okay. Now, let's do another one. Perhaps I should make it small so we can see where we're getting these all from. You put a equal sign and you get the next one. Put an equal sign and you get the next one. And you put an equal sign and you get the final one. And you put an equal sign and you get the last one. Now, once you've done that, then you click on these and you go to Format. Okay, I'm gonna make another step one. Let's make step 4, and the final step is to take away the background. Okay. So you just click on this one, and then you go to Format Data Label. Oops. And you click on this one. Put no fill as well. Oops. That does not work. Okay, well, just a minute. Okay, I did make a mistake. This is a bad one. God, I make a lot of mistakes. I hope you don't get irritated. I hope I don't get all these comments that I make mistakes. With this one, we should have taken value driver. It goes backwards. The damn thing puts it in backwards. So let's just review. Make this up, and then this lowercase is the lowercase minus the label.
Good, sir. You have more cappuccino?
No, yeah. Okay.
One more cappuccino?
Yeah. And then the high case is the difference between the high and the low. Okay, and then you see we have a really little difference. That was driving me crazy. Perhaps we'll do this one, and perhaps we'll make this let's make this a blue color or something. You can wasting your time on this is kind of ridiculous. But, and you know, and click on this again. No. Oh, shit. Okay, and we'll make this larger. Oh, come on. And I think that's, if you just put gap width here, does it make it larger? Okay, let's make it like that, okay? So, that's a football field diagram. I think I'm going to make another video on this eventually, but let's copy this to our summary page and kind of make a nice diagram of it. And that I am colorless. Okay.